Hi, everyone. Welcome again to the International Debate League. We are going to have another debate, our second official debate. This one, I am a friend of the vibe. I was debating in the first debate, but this one I'll be moderating. It's going to be a similar debate to the first debate, but different people debating. We're going to be debating again about should we have a state or should we not have a state? What would be best? Is it best to have a state, or should we not have a state? So yeah, and I'm gonna be muting people if they talk too long. Other than that, the debate's gonna go for about 30 minutes. And who wants to start?
Let's do a random.
Okay, all right, yeah. So it's gonna be Mighty Elf versus Rikus or Rikus. How is it, Rikus or Rikus?
However you want.
Okay. All right, cool. It's gonna be Mighty Elf versus Rikus. So Rikus, you can go first. Let's go.
All right. Personally, I believe that there should be a state. Since ever there has been states, basically states. In the beginning, it was only like tribalism, but then they formed together into states. Like the modern definition of a state it's quite new, to be honest, but there's always been some kind of structure that has kept people together. And I believe that there's a good reason for that, as in a pure anarchist society without any kind of rules, or doesn't even have to be like really anarchist, but just not having a state without the enforcement that a state brings, that there can't be the liberty that we have right now, can't be freedom as we have it right now, as we need to enforce that everybody keeps these freedoms and keeps these liberties and doesn't disturb the other people's liberties and that.
All right. So yeah, this is why I told you, Zach, we got to keep it generalized. Basically, when most people think of anarchy, so that includes you too, I think, Rikus. People think of lawlessness and generally chaos and no structure, no system, and generally nothing works. It's just a state of disorganization. But I don't. Of course I don't. I actually do not promote that. What I see by anarchism is that is simply a sort of hierarchy that is very how can I say it, very consent based. So I will try to describe what the state is, so that it's easier to understand what I mean. As you said, initially we had no state. We were just humans organized themselves in tribes, and that was basically the structure. But one could say that even those same tribes were sort of going into that direction, becoming states. So that's why I see this as more of sort of spectrum, the spectrum of state versus anarchism, and I favor the side of anarchism a lot.
Okay, Rikus, I muted Mighty Elf. I'm gonna give you a chance to respond.
All right. To this point, I don't really have. He was just talking about the definitions,
Yeah.
and I cannot say anything really against that. It does seem quite accurate as he said it. I can just
Can I
confirm
go?
that I'm more on the side of the state and not on the side of anarchism on this spectrum.
All right. Okay, can I talk?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not muted. Okay. All right. So yes. So I'd like to know. So you basically agree to what I said so far, so as to establish the foundings.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I do agree
Okay.
with the you gave.
Okay. And okay. Well, so I talked a lot, so I will ask you first. What do you think a state is, or what do you say is a state?
For me, a state is like a government that has different aspects to it. There's of course the legislation, meaning there are different laws in place that are consistent. There's
Okay.
there's enforcement of these laws with the executive. There is
Okay, but what is, like, if you would describe it in a most basic way, what is a government?
It's a little bit of a difficult question. I would say a government is an entity that is there to administer a country and make sure that the country runs smoothly and that everybody is adhering to the laws, I guess.
Everybody, but okay. And how does it do it?
Through different enforcement mechanisms individual to each country.
Would you say a state needs coercion to enforce its laws?
Coercion is a very negatively connotated word, I'd say, but in a broader sense, I would agree to that, yeah.
All right. Okay, so we established that. And what about what is like materially? What is the government? I'd guess it's people, since since we are people, all of us. So how would you say it's a select people, or what?
Well, I think we have to differentiate between the government and the government officials. Of course, the government officials, they are people, but government itself is polity, meaning the framework of the government, how it's like written down in the constitution.
Okay. But what is it physically? Like, I don't mean in an abstract way.
Physically, like, could you
Like
elaborate?
What?
Could you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, like I would say that physically, like in the material world, the state is simply people who wield power to coercively enforce rules.
Well,
either by themselves or by an employment of third parties.
Okay, I would say that I would agree to this with the addition of that physically it's also the written down constitution of a state, ensuring that these people don't abuse their powers. And now I'd like to ask you a question. How would this statelessness or however far you want to go on the spectrum between state and anarchy, how it.
What you said at first, I didn't in the question.
Oh, all good. I wanted to ask you, how does this statelessness, however far you want to go on the spectrum between state and anarchy, how does that look like for you?
Okay. Like myself, how far do I place myself?
Yeah, and how would you have society organized?
Okay. Basically, I would place myself on the far end. So if I had to organize society in the best way possible, I would place myself on the far, maybe not the literal end, because that's debatable. What is that? But on the far reaches of the spectrum towards the anarchism side. So, and how that would look is basically people would not organize themselves through a state. There wouldn't be a select people who have to enforce the rules, but there would be hierarchies based on consent. Generally consent and democracy, basically, because once you get bigger, you need to employ democracy. Once you get bigger groups of people, but basically. So another aspect that is relevant to our world is that we have like a huge population, and the states currently wield power over huge numbers of people. So I would change that so it's more locally based, and that people generally organize themselves more locally, basically.
I have a question to your hierarchy based on consent and democracy. How is that hierarchy based on consent and democracy different than what we have now? Right now, we also have a hierarchy with people being able to work in the government by being elected in there, thus being theoretically above us. But
because it's not really, it's okay. So it's vaguely based in democracy, and it's not based on consent. Okay, so why is it vaguely based in democracy? Because you first of all, when you pass a law, that law just stays there until you pass it, and until you need another majority to repeal it, and that's basically so if your state passed a law in the year 1900, 1900, and then it's the year 2000. It still has that law from 100 years ago, but the people do not agree on it. So that's one aspect. Another aspect is that you vote. You vote on people. You don't vote on. You don't vote what laws to have. So it's. If we take what democracy means, it kind of means to choose how things are how can I say?
Okay, Rikus, I'm gonna give you a chance to respond. I think Mighty Elf has talked a lot, so you can respond to what he was saying about how things are not consensual and how we do not live in a real genuine democracy. So
All right. Sorry, I interrupted you. So, you said that when we have a law from 100 years ago that was passed back then and still have it, that was your example. But the thing is, if people wanted to revoke that law, they would have they would have voted for somebody that promises to revoke that law. Of course, we don't vote directly on the legislation, but we also don't just vote on the people. If we just vote on the people, then a lot of people would not be in power right now, because generally many politicians are quite awful, if I might say so. But we vote. Can I finish my sentence and then you can talk?
yeah,
But instead, we vote on the promises that these people make. For example, if I want a certain law revoked really badly, then I vote for somebody that promises, if you vote for me, I will try to revoke that law. That's how it works right now.
okay, one sec. Okay, you're unmuted, Mighty.
Okay. I don't know if you actually unmute me or not, but alright.
I did.
Alright. Okay. So basically, you're saying because people can vote for someone that will want to repeal that law, then it's democracy. But I do not agree, because that law will need a majority to be repealed, when in the first place it needed a majority to be put into place. So it doesn't make sense. So if 51% of people voted it into place 100 years ago, but now sorry. 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 Okay. I guess you're right there. That you can repeal it. But it's still not the same, because okay, you got me there. Yeah. Let me think for a bit. Okay.
No problem.
Yeah.
Would you like some time to think about it, or should I continue with other points?
You can you continue with it? Yeah, with my other points. Yeah.
So, what? Could you explain again what you were saying with a huge? Okay, you're saying with a huge populations, then that is a problem, as governments wield a lot of power over these huge swaths of people, and you would how's it called? Localize this more. This is a valid argument in some aspects, but in other aspects it just doesn't guarantee justice. For example, if we have like such a small state, as you say, it's much easier to take over a little mini state than a giant state, for example, meaning that if I wanted to, I don't know, get myself elected dictator of a state, instead of having to, let's take the US for example, the US has how many? 360 million people. So in order to get elected president, I would have to get the votes of the majority of the people that vote. I don't know how many people voted last time. Let's say I had to get 100 million votes if to become president. Then I would still have to get a 2/3 majority in order to change the constitution. I don't know how exactly it works in the US, but in many countries it's like this. You have to have a 2/3 majority to change the constitution. That's a lot and a lot and a lot of people I have to convince in order to change this constitution. And even if it's more indirect through representatives, then it's still a lot of people that I have to convince in that matter. I don't know how many people are in Congress, a few hundred people I would have to convince that are already skilled in politics. If I have a very small state of, let's say, I don't know, the city where I'm from, 500,000 people, to become elected with a 50% majority, I'd maybe have to get 200,000 votes, as not everybody will vote, which is already a lot less than 100 million. And to then change the constitution, I would still have only to get a few 100,000 votes to get myself elected, how's it called, into a position where I have a lot more power than I should have. And I just think that this huge scaling in some aspects guarantees more of a security than this little mini states. Know what I mean?
Okay. Can you summarize your point here?
Oh yeah, of course. I think in order to gain control over the state, the larger the state is with people, the more difficult it is to take over the state and suppress liberty. If we're talking about not a situation of crisis, of course.
The larger the state, the harder it is to suppress liberty.
To get yourself into a position of power where you can suppress the liberty. Yeah.
I would say quite the opposite, that such positions of power actually attract people that are very power hungry. And the bigger the country is, the higher the position of power.
Yeah, of course, but if the countries are smaller, then whatever the head of this mini country is still the highest position of power possible. So people will still strive to the highest position of power that there is, even if it's less powerful than in the other cases.
So your point is that because it's still the highest position in that state, then it's still people will be attracted, or what?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think a power-hungry person would say, "Oh, this is the highest position, but it doesn't give me as much power, so I'll just not do it and do some power."
I don't know. I don't really agree. When you are the when you are the president of the United States versus when you are the president of Macedonia or something, then you feel a lot different, I would assume.
Yeah, but the thing is that there isn't. If we have only this many states, there is no president of the United States. So maybe Macedonia will be the largest country there is, and this is just the highest position where you can rise to. You know.
Or you say because of comparison, it's the same attraction. It's a difficult story. It's because of comparison to the United States, it's a lower attraction for the Macedonian president.
For example, I remember a story about Julius Caesar that was once told. He and some friends were visiting some small village, and friends were making fun of the villagers and be like, "Oh, imagine how their local politics here must be." And Caesar said, "I would rather be the first man in this village than the second man in Rome," just showcasing that it is not about being the president or the leader of a big country. It's just about being in the highest position of the region you're in, of the country you're in. Meaning, if I'm Macedonian, and then I will still want to be the highest position in Macedonia.
All right. I think this would apply this logic would apply in Julius Caesar's time, but it really does not apply in the 21st century, and I'm gonna explain why. Basically, in Caesar's time, you were born in a village. All you knew about was your village, basically, and you had no idea that there is a wider world. It was just a big unknown. While here with the internet, we know what's going on. We watch news, and we are aware of a wider world. And so people that search for power, having this knowledge in mind, would have to compare their current power to the power that is possible to accumulate.
Oh, okay, but when we have only this really small state, then there's still only a certain amount of power that you can accumulate, and even if that power is very little, it's still the most you can accumulate, so why not accumulate it?
Yeah, sure, why not accumulate it? But if you could accumulate more, you'd accumulate more, and if the more power that you can accumulate, the better. And the thing that the US is such a big country gives you that possibility to climb up the ranks and be extremely powerful, and gives you that incentive. That as I said, attract power hungry people.
Okay, I feel like this is just a difference in belief, like how people would act in these positions. I would like to bring the debate to a different topic and.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Just letting you guys know. I'll give you like 5 more minutes, because we're close to.
Fine. Can we extend? Zach?
Yeah.
Can we extend?
Yeah, that's fine, but not too much longer. Just get your last last points out, and yeah.
Sure, let's make it a bit shorter. Yeah. What you do? Do you have something in mind, Rikus, or?
There was one thing I still wanted to talk about, and that is stuff that such small states simply can't do. Like, the US is spending hundreds of billions of dollars on research every year.
Yeah.
As a small state just can't spend that much on research on some projects. For example, look at NASA. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Why not?
Because a small state just doesn't have the resources to fund such extremely expensive projects such as NASA.
It doesn't have to be the state.
But if that is privatized, then it is not as accessible as when the state does it itself.
It also doesn't have to be privatized.
But who would pay for it otherwise if it's not the state or a private company?
Well, you know that charities exist, right?
But what exists?
Uh-huh.
And what exists? Can you repeat it? I didn't understand.
Charities.
Yeah, charities, of course, that exist.
Yeah.
But
Charity is a consensual based structure.
yeah, and the problem is, yes, it is consensual based, but what does the average person, when they look into space and be like, oh yeah, I want to donate so somebody can collect rocks from the moon. Of course, that is a lot less incentivized then when the government says we need to collect this to understand our universe better. Some people just don't care for these kind of things, even though it is important. Different people have different interests, and some things are just more important than the average person's interest.
Okay, you guys, Mighty, I'm gonna let you respond to that, and then that'll be the end of the debate. So respond to that and as best you can, and then we'll wrap it up.
This was alright. So I'm gonna say this was incredibly short, actually, but alright. Okay. So basically, your point is that the state can allocate resources to places where otherwise would not be allocated if there was no state, something like that. But what I want to ask is who decides what is important or not? I think it shouldn't be the state's job to decide what's important. I think it's the people who consensually should decide where to allocate the resources, and basically the state has just a lot more incentives to waste than to even allocate to something good, as it can be seen throughout history.
Can I still answer to that, or not anymore?
Sure,
Yeah, I'd like to answer it.
you can answer. You can answer. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing you're missing is the average person isn't an expert on every topic. Average person knows like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics that they are really good in. They're working in one field that they are experts in, maybe because they work there all their lives. But the state has the power to harvest experts from all different fields and employ their task and be like, hey, expert on I don't know, medicine. What do you think we need as a country on? Hey, expert on astronomy.
Do you know? Yeah. Are you finished or?
Almost. And in that way, the state is like a rain pool, basically, which is able to employ experts from all these different areas. While if only the people themselves decide, many people will just not have the expert opinion or just don't bother looking them up.
Okay. All right. Do you know how charities are organized?
Yeah. But
Alright,
well, people need to donate to that, and if not many people see a reason to donate to something, just because they're not
Sure.
on the field.
Sure, that's another discussion. But what I'm saying is, charities, you don't when you donate to a charity, you don't actually go and donate. So let's say you have a charity that wants to, let's say, donate to medical care to children in Africa. You don't actually go yourself and give medical care to children, but you donate to the charity, so it's consensual, and then the charity uses that money to employ people, experts who decide how to best use those resources.
Oh, yeah, I do understand that, but my point was like in more abstract topics like astroscience, people don't simply will not see a good reason to donate a lot of money to, for example, astroscience, and therefore these experts will not fund in the first place. As if there was a government, they could allocate the money to that as they have the expert opinions at all times.
Sure, all right. There is a point there about astroscience, but let's look at other domains, at physics in general, engineering, science in general. The private sector has been instrumental in allocating funds towards many of the inventions we had throughout the last 2 centuries. So you can see that consensual-based allocation can work very well, actually. Maybe not for astrophysics, but for a lot of other things, yeah.